We're in our fifth show of the winter program, and today really does feel like winter out there, doesn't it? It was like so. Wake up this morning and like a bracing 20 degrees out on my porch. Whoa. Today's program we're dealing with some kind of heavy topics, but it's kind of appropriate for winter. And I also want to remind people that not only is the 21st the first day of winter, it's the first day of solstice when things start getting lighter again. And part of the purpose of this show is to shed light on all the wonderful services that cover all the different periods of life, in particularly toward the end of our life. We're going to touch on some things today that are hard to talk about sometimes, but because here in Amador we have such warm human services, I think that you'll find that these kinds of conversations are much easier to have with the folks we have here. And joining me this morning is Michael Johnson from Daenerys. Michael, thanks for coming back on.
Thank you very much for having me.
So you were telling me before the show something I didn't know, which is actually it's not just Daenerys Mortuary. There's 4 separate entities that are a part of the services that you all provide.
Yes, in our community we really have 4 companies that we are involved with. 4 distinct individual companies, unique in and of themselves. They each have different names, so they're individual business entities, but we are related to each other in that we share our resources, our staff, our equipment, and we share everything that's necessary to keep each one successful.
And sort of a common focus, common mission of caring for people's needs after.
So those 4 are named Daenerys Mortuary, of course, which is a long-standing business, and the one that my face is most commonly associated with, but also Amador Hills, which is located in Pine Grove, and Amador Memorial Cemetery is a part of our oversight and shared business plan. And then we have Sunset View Cemetery, which is a cemetery located in Jackson.
In Jackson, kind of on what we call Hurricane Hill.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So most of us kind of know about Daenerys. I have to tell you a kind of funny story. When we first moved here, we drove by there, and then we asked some local friends, how's the food at that Italian restaurant, Daenerys? And they said, it's a mortuary, Laurie. So people do know it. It's been here a long time.
It's been established in that location since the 60s, and has grown and developed as time has gone on. Of course, technology has become more important to every business in life, but also to how we care for people, the living more so than those that have passed away.
Yeah, you do have a lot of wonderful services that you provide to folks who lose a loved one. I know you and Regina have both been on and talked about the kind of respect that you show to the families and the deceased person from the minute you're involved, and it's really wonderful. So then there's Amador Hills, and that's a crematorium also?
It is a funeral home, but offers the service of cremation. One of the unique things about that particular business is that it also handles the cremation of pets.
That's right. That's a service that you all have provided for what, about?
Just 2 years now.
2 years now.
Maybe actually 1.5 would be closer to right.
Wow, and I think that is almost a rarity in communities. I don't know of very many other, certainly not any other rural areas that have pet cremation services. And of course, as director of the senior center, I know how important our pets are to us. So that's a wonderful service that you provide. And then the cemetery up in Pioneer, I guess a lot of us always thought that was a veteran cemetery, but it's part of your collaboration.
Right. It is. There's the 2 endowment care cemeteries that we are associated with. Amador Memorial is one of them. And endowment care is really defined as a cemetery that is not ran by tax dollars, but by the purchase of property and the payment of a endowment care fee, and that fee generates an interest income to the cemetery to maintain its grounds.
Grounds. So when someone purchases a plot or property there at both of the cemeteries, both Sunset View and...
Correct.
That fee, that one-time, is it a one-time fee?
One-time fee.
Goes into an endowment fund, kind of like a foundation.
Right.
And the interest that's generated by that foundation money, that endowment, is used for the care of the cemetery and the graves.
Right.
So it's not like a city cemetery that has to use tax dollars?
That's correct.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that. So there's that one, and then there's Sunset View.
Sunset View was established a little bit later, only a few years later, but it was established by my parents, Greg and Nancy Johnson, in 1988. They purchased a portion of the ranch property that was there from the Boscovich family, and really it's 20 acres that they has designated and dedicated as cemetery.
Oh my goodness, I had
property there.
no idea it was that
They
big.
haven't developed that much property, but that's the whole parcel.
Now, I have a friend who's actually he was one of the founders of the senior center, Bill Jaffe. His ashes are interred there, but you have a mausoleum?
Right. A cemetery has a variety of options for both casket burial and urn interment or burial. They can be either in the ground or above ground. Either decision is available. The mausoleum can accommodate both a casket or an urn.
So it's actually larger than it looks from the street.
And there's space set aside for an additional mausoleum if that ever became a desire that the community felt and would support.
And there's another unique feature you mentioned about Sunset View, a natural burial area.
Yes. In recent years, there's been an interest in green options. And so the cemetery has been proactive in that and developed a section that we call the Nature Grove, which is really a grove of trees that have been planted maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. Natural setting, no grass, no traditional memorial stones or headstones. They're all natural in appearance. And the ground is covered with wood chips or a natural type of material.
So it's more like being laid to rest in a forest rather than on a lawn.
And we have a vision. Of course, it's going to take a while for those trees to grow, but that was really the vision, is a beautiful forest. So.
Wow, that's great, because that would certainly be something I might consider opting for. So those are the 4 entities, and they all work kind of collaboratively, you said.
Right.
And you have some special things going on at Daenerys during the season now?
Yes. We each year have put together a candlelighting memorial service. We've always tried to do it the the second Thursday of December. And part of that program, the invitation goes out to the community. Anybody that's had a loss, whether it's this year or 10 years ago or 50 years ago, they can participate and honor the loved one that they lost.
So it's not just for the people that you have served, but for anyone in the community. And how does someone get involved in that?
Well, they really just need to call us. We try to send the word out through the newspaper, and we have a banner hanging actually on a sign that we pay for to get the word out. But anybody can come. They just need to call. It's going to be Thursday, December 12th at 6:30. We also provide, as part of that program, an ornament to memorialize a loved one. You can take home, put on your own Christmas tree, or however you want to display it.
And so it's on the 12th, you said?
On the 12th.
At 6 o'clock?
6:30.
6:30. And you like it if people call ahead so you kind of know how many people are coming?
It's really not necessary.
Okay.
You can come. We do have hors d'oeuvres at that time. The program actually starts at 7, but we don't tell people not to come until 7. So.
Yeah. So they come and have a little snack, and then they join in the service, and then they get to take a an ornament away if they
Right.
want. That's beautiful. Daenerys' phone number,
Can be called at 223-0793.
0793. Okay. And they don't need to call ahead, but it would be good to
Sure.
let them know. Yeah.
Sure.
And this is the time of year that, everyone says, oh, people die around the holidays. But I know that people start thinking about making plans, and I'm assuming that even though it's the holidays, you and Regina are meeting with people, and if people are sort of starting to plan ahead, what are your business hours?
Yes, at Daenerys, we walk through the door at 8:30, and we leave at 5
Okay,
usually.
and people would make appointments for sometime during
Yes,
that time.
and that's
Uh-huh.
true with Amador Hills as well.
Oh,
It's
okay, so
8:30
that's
to
a
5.
separate.
Yeah.
Okay, and we mentioned the pet services, and you said if someone calls Daenerys about having a pet cremated, you just refer them up there.
Right. So that's
okay.
a unique part of that company in Pine Grove is that they offer pet
That
cremation.
Service. Amazing. Well, I think I found this very uplifting. So
Oh,
thank
good,
you
good.
for coming in, and we're very lucky to have that group of services here in Amador County.
Thank you very much.
Stay tuned. We're going to back up a little and talk to Dan Riordan about hospice care.
Today's Seniors Living Well is made possible in part by a generous contribution from the Amador County Board of Supervisors. Chairman of the Board, District 2 Supervisor Richard Forrester, serving the areas of Amador City, Ione, and Comanche. District 3 Supervisor Ted Novelli, serving the eastern areas of the Upcountry. District 1 Supervisor John Plaz, serving the Jackson area. District 4 Supervisor Louis Boitano, serving areas of Sutter Creek and Pine Grove. And District 5 Supervisor Brian Oneto, serving Plymouth and the north area of western Amador County. To reach your supervisor, call 223-6470 or go to